I was just a little boy, I asked my mother, what will I be? Oh, will I be happy? Will I be rich? And this is what she said to me. She said, que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. Future's not ours to see. No, no, no. Well, when I grew up and fell in love, I asked my baby what lies ahead. Oh, will there be sunshine day after day? And this is what my baby said. Sing it! She said, que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. No, no, no. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. David, now play. Now I have children of my own. They ask their mother, what will I be? They say, will I be handsome? Will I be rich? Will I
get to go to the camp in Peachtree City?
I tell them tenderly, que sera, sera. Whatever will be. The future's not ours to see. Hey, 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 hey. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Hey, Sarah, Sarah. Oh. Whatever will be.
And welcome welcome all to another edition of the From Season 4 episode Titles Reveal. And tonight we're going to dive even deeper into these new episode titles that we have been given. But first and foremost, we want to hear from you guys, not only in the chat, but also in the comments section. I got tons of incredibly good comments and incredibly good theories based on everybody's interpretation of what these episode titles might mean. And we're going to take a look at some of those tonight as well. We love taking a look at some of the fan theories here. That's always some of the funnest parts of diving into these things, not just hearing what we have to say. We want to hear what you guys have to say. That is what we are going to do tonight. And of course, if you didn't have a chance to throw some of your theories in the Discord or in the comment section of the video, then by all means, throw them in the live chat tonight as we go along, and we will be reading from there as well. But I got to say, I was incredibly impressed with all of the fan theories and all of the stuff that everybody's already been coming up with based on these episode titles. Really, really genius stuff I'm seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, this has become the group project that we have all just collectively joined. And I feel like we are going to get to the answer. If anybody could figure it out, it's going to be your people. Your Discord has some of the best theories. Sometimes when I'm bored, I'll just go in there and like read all the theories.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Honestly, it is. Sometimes it's better than reading a novel at the end of the night. Just hop into that Discord, hop into the tinfoil section, and you are bound to find numerous hours worth of just incredibly, really well thought out theories by some of the coolest members of the From fandom around. Yeah. Super fun. Love what that Discord has turned into. I couldn't be happier with what the Discord has become. Never thought it would be such a giant hub for From theories like it is. That's super cool. But yeah, there's been some really good ones. Some really good ones in the Discord, some really good ones in the comment sections. And tonight we're going to take a look at what you guys are saying. What do you guys think of these episode titles? And of course, let us know in the comment section, in the live chat tonight, throughout the night, what you guys think as well. Speaking of the live chat, let's see who we got in here tonight. We got Ray in the house. What is up, Ray? Can't wait anymore. LOL. I know the wait has been tedious. The wait has been tedious. I mean, just to get a little crumb from MGM at this point, I feel would be, life-changing, whether it's a trailer, a definitive release date, or anything really. But having some episode titles to dive into, it is fun. A little something to keep us busy while we wait for the real juice to get here. We need the real juice to squeeze. Let's see who else we got. We got David Riley in the house. What is up, David Riley? Good to see you as well. I see Pam Jam in the building. I see Thomas Shelby is here. What is up, Thomas? I see Nicole's in the house. Nikki Panda, welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see you as well. I heard, I thought I saw Spider-Gate. Yes, Spider-Gate is still alive and kicking, and who knows? Who knows where Spider-Gate's going to take us next when From Season 4 gets here. We shall see. We shall see. Let's see who else we got. Scrolling down. We got Lady Lamano. Welcome, Lady Lamano. We got Golden Child in the house as well. Welcome, Golden Child. I see Wolf Spear in the building. Welcome, Wolf Spear. I see Catherine there as well. Welcome one, welcome all. Big shout out, big thank you to each and every one of you for coming and joining us on this impromptu. I know it's not our normal night for a From stream, but I had to kind of postpone this one a few times due to some personal issues. But tonight I thought, can't postpone this stream anymore. We're going live tonight, and we're going to continue our dive into these episode titles. So big thank you to each and every one of you for hanging out with us tonight. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I see Minerva in the house. Welcome, Minerva. If there's no more Spider-Gate theorists, the show is over, or I'm dead. Oof. Yeah, if there's no more Spider-Gate theories going on, I don't know how Nikki's going to survive that. She's very heavy into the Spider-Gate. She's like the ringleader of the Spider-Gate movement.
She is the master of the Spider-Gate community. And you know what? I have to say, Nikki Panda, there is going to be a spider, because they wouldn't have shown us Boyd's wife covered in spider webs and a ton of tiny little baby spiders if there wasn't going to be a massive spider. They didn't do that. We know that from, yes, it takes a while to get answers, but you get answers. They do circle back. And like I said, I've said it before, but the rope is proof that they will circle back at some point.
They might. I mean, they do tend to. I get the feeling that a lot of the stuff that they're throwing in there is going to get circled around back to, like the voice at the end of the radio, at the end of season 1. You know, we waited 2 whole seasons to finally get an answer as to whose voice was on the other end of that radio. So yeah, a lot of the mysteries that they set up super early on might not get answered until later, but I think they're going to circle around to most of them, if not all of them. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see what happens with Spider-Gate. I know there's some people think there will be a giant spider coming. Some people think there won't be. But I don't know. I'm not quite sure which way I land on. At this point, part of me is wondering if maybe all of the spider references we saw were just in reference to the spiders we already got. But then again, you know, we saw all these giant webs. We see, like you mentioned, Boyd's wife covered in the spiders right before he gets bit. So I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure where I land on this whole Spider-Gate debacle. But I mean, I certainly wouldn't mind seeing a giant spider on From if it was done well. That's for sure. But I don't know. We'll see. Will there be I guess that could be our first poll of the night. Will there be a giant spider in From? Where is Spider-Gate ultimately going to take us? Let us know in the chat, guys. I'm going to pull up a poll right now, and I want to see where this is going to go. Start a poll. Will there be a spider? Will there be a giant spider on From? Will we see a giant spider on from. There it is. The poll is up. Refresh your live chat and you should see it popping up. Let us know, what do you think? Will there be a giant spider on from? Yes or no? Ooh, looks like we have some votes coming in already, and already 64% say yes, there will be a giant spider on from. So yes is in the majority right now. So we'll have to keep an eye on that throughout the night. What about you, PM? You think we're gonna get some more spider action, huh? You're fully in on the side of Spidergate.
Yes, I feel like we have to have a giant spider. And you know what I'm thinking also, Nikki Panda? I'm thinking the red Cthulhu-like figure. We have all been
Ooh.
thinking this has to be something else. But what about if it's not something else and this red Cthulhu-like figure is a spider? It's just a
Mm,
giant red spider. Because
yeah,
it does kind of have tentacles that go down. It could just be a very primitive depiction of a spider. So
maybe.
that might be our spider. It might be a big red spider. I think we have to have one. Like I said, From is very good about giving you answers. If they're emphasizing something, it's for a reason.
Mm,
So I don't know. I'm keeping the hope alive.
okay. Keeping the hope alive. We shall see. We shall see. Are we going to get a giant spider or not? Let your cast your vote. Let your vote be known. And so far, the yes is firmly in control of the poll at 54% versus 46%. So as of right now, the majority of the chat thinks there will be a giant spider in From. So we shall see. We shall see. We got Daryl Seymour in the house. What is up, Daryl? Good to see you as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got COA Podium. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you as well. Let's see what else we got scrolling down here. I saw my pal Admiral Wackass in the building. Once again, Jade is the best character. Absolutely, hands down. Team Jade all day. There's so many great characters on From, but you know, you guys, anybody who knows me, you know, Jade has been my favorite character since day one, ever since the very beginning of the series. I know some people didn't like Jade at the very beginning because he kind of came in very brash and rash and kind of an asshole. I loved that. I fucking loved the way Jade was at the beginning of the series. That was hilarious. Like, just seeing him think that this whole world was just tailor made for him, and an escape room tailor made for him, you know, the arrogance that he kind of walks into Fromville with. And then you see the journey that he goes on and the kind of character that he becomes by the time you get to the end of season 3. And you start to see, wow, this guy has some actual layers to him. He's not just your Silicon Valley tech, you know, douche. He's an actual person. There's an actual character there with layers. Yeah, Jade for me has always been, you know, the most fascinating. But I love Scott McCord as Victor too. I fucking
Hmm.
love that guy
Yeah.
as Victor. And what can you say? How paranoid Boyd is Boyd. I mean, how can you not love Boyd? So those are my top 3.
I
Those are
mean,
my
the
top.
thing about Jade, what I love about Jade is that there is something different than your typical asshole who thinks that he's the smartest guy in the room. There is something different about him. And it's not that he had to grow into somebody that is self aware. He was already self aware.
Yeah.
Because the thing about Jade, which I like, is that yes, he's very polarizing. He comes off as a know it all. He tells you just straight up, I'm smarter than you. I'm going to figure this out, but he's
Mhm.
self-aware. He's
Yeah.
not going around thinking everybody's a big fan of me. He's like, such an asshole. Like everybody, I'm going to
Yeah.
rub people the wrong way. So he has self-awareness, and that in itself is very refreshing. There's no
Mhm.
expectation. He doesn't expect people to like him. He
Yeah.
understands, people probably will not like me because I'm an asshole, but I'm right. He
But I'm
says,
right.
he goes a step further. I am what I am, right? He knows who he is.
Yeah.
And he also knows I'm right at the end of the day. More than likely, I'll be right. So I
Mhm.
do like that about Jade. But my favorite character has to be Boyd. I mean, Boyd is just the leader that, you know, we're all rooting for. He is the type of leader that I'd like to see. He's somebody who is dedicated to doing the right thing for people, even when people are not thankful for the job that he does, which we have seen in the town. We have seen Boyd over and over again provide for the town, protect the town, and the townspeople are not thankful. They mistreat him. They're not grateful at all for his service. But nonetheless, he wakes up and he serves. So he's my favorite
Mm.
character because I like that type of character, like that
No,
style in a man. Yeah.
yeah, no, me too. I like the depth that like once they like, because at first I could understand why people maybe didn't like him, but then when they really start showing you like, no, this character has a layer of emotional depth that they haven't fully explored yet, and you start to see that side to him towards the end of season 1, when we get one of my personal favorite scenes in all of From. It will always stand the test of time, I think, as one of the best scenes that Jade has ever done. And that is this one.
You know, I grew up in France with my grandma. She died when I was 12. I had to come back to the States. I was crying at the airport. And this nice lady bought me soda. I told her what was wrong. She said to me, "They come with you when you go." I guess what I'm just trying to say is, don't be sad. I'll come with you when you go.
Jade and Tien Chen really did have such a great bond. No, like they had such a really good chemistry on screen, but like that, Jade needed that. I feel like he needed that, that stern motherly figure to really kind of crack the whip on him. And we saw how effective she was at, getting Jade to act like an adult whenever she wanted to. Like Jade was afraid of Tien Chen by the end there. Like she had him on lock. But no, they developed such a good relationship, those two, with very little dialogue. And that is the mark of really good writing and good acting, when two performers can just create this bond without having to really say anything to each other. So yeah, Jade and Tien Chen, awesome duo. Very much going to miss her in season 4. We're not going to have Tien Chen in season 4. Fuck, man. I'm going to miss her.
I know. Well, maybe flashbacks. Maybe Kenny's coming of age, because I do feel like this next season Kenny is going to become, right? He has
Kenny's
experienced a lot of loss,
yeah,
but he is going to become that person that can take over for Boyd. And maybe we'll get some flashbacks of him remembering his parents. They don't usually do flashbacks, but who knows, maybe. What I did like about Tien Chen is that she was nice to everybody. She was a very sweet woman. To most people, she was very polite and sweet. But that didn't mean that she liked you. You knew that she liked you if she was rude and screamed at you and badly. That meant she actually liked you, that she cared for you. And I like that style, like tough love, which is what Kenny says to Jade. My mom really likes you, because she's screaming at him and like hitting him with the spatula.
With the spatula,
Yeah, it meant that she actually cared for him. She was past the pleasantries and wanting to help him as best as she could. And if we recall, she's the one that helped Jade figure out electricity. He was like, I need electricity, I need power.
True.
And with the limited language, they were able to create a bond. And she turns on the light and she's like, there you go, like here it is. So she helped them. It was so sweet to see. I mean, not sweet, right? It's her funeral, so that's not super sweet. But to see that Jade went over and he went to see her body and to say his goodbyes, it was just heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was. It was truly heartbreaking. And then, I thought it was very fitting that Jade was one of the ones that was preparing her body, to make her presentable for the funeral. I feel like it was very fitting that it was Jade there helping Christy with that, because she couldn't really like do it. So yeah, he's just a great character. I mean, what's not to love about Jade? The guy's the best. Guy is the best. Red cave painting that looked like an octopus could be a spider. I mean, very similar shapes. I mean, if it's a primitive type drawing too, as you mentioned, PM, like a primitive depiction of one, that would make even more sense that it wouldn't look super anatomically correct, but vaguely correct. So yeah, I mean, maybe that red symbol has been a spider the whole time. Who knows? Who knows? Guess we'll find out. I guess we shall find out. The bracelet, that's another one. Bracelet was introduced in season 1, episode 6, then comes back into it in season 3, episode 3. Yeah, exactly. The bracelet, we all wondered what's going on with this bracelet, how this get here, yada, yada. So they do end up coming back to these mysteries. It might take a season or two, but I get the feeling everything's going to be answered by the time the whole series is over. But we'll see. We shall see. Let's see what else you guys are saying in the chat. Yeah, send some of the snow into Fromville. Gets rid of spiders. Yeah, I mean, I got plenty to spare. Plenty of snow to spare here. If Fromville needs some, tell them to hit me up. I'll send it over lickety split. Yes, there will be a giant spider, just like there will be Boyd's boat and the flood. Yeah, the flood, that's been a lot of foreshadowing towards some kind of flood. A lot of fans think that there's going to be some kind of flood in Fromville. I'm still not 100% sold on the flood myself, personally. I feel like I get why people think there will be one. I see the foreshadowing. But I guess I'm just not quite sure if we're going to see like a full-on flood inside Fromville. Part of me is starting to wonder if the flood is symbolic. It's a symbolic flood, referring to not a literal flood, but a symbolic flood of something else, maybe. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe we'll get a legit flood in Fromville. We do get those drawings of the water level rising and people like standing on top of the roofs to get away from it. So there's a lot of foreshadowing and tons of those drawings for all of these big events. So who knows? Maybe we'll get all of them. Maybe we'll get none of them. I don't know. But we shall see. I do like the spider theory for the tent grabber, but who knows? Yeah, it's another mystery that still needs to get solved. What or who was dragging Boyd and Sarah's tent at the end of season 1? We still don't have that answer. But yeah, some people do believe the giant spider might be the culprit. We shall see. I'm also kind of a fan of the theory that Victor's sister is the one knocking on the cabins, that she's secretly alive. I definitely think Eloise is still alive somewhere. Is she the one knocking on the cabins? I don't know, personally. I think it's an interesting theory. I thought it was funny when we were kind of joking last year, when season 3 was airing, about how Jim and Kenny find all this kind of food just growing around near Cannibal Village, near the new settlement that they find. And that, the running joke last year that everybody kept saying that Eloise is going to come home and all of her fucking food's going to be stolen, that people think it was Eloise who planted all that food. And that's an interesting theory. I mean, there's so many good theories out there surrounding Eloise. Where she is, where she's been this whole time. Is she alive? Is she dead? How did she survive? Is she in Fromville? Is she in the real world? Tons of theories surrounding Eloise. But the show has definitely left the door open in terms of leaving her death ambiguous. It's a very ambiguous death. And I feel like they're doing that purposely so, because I do think she's still alive somewhere. If Eloise isn't alive, if it turns out that Eloise has been dead this whole time, that is the mother of all red herrings. Like the mother of all red herrings. If she's not alive, she's got to be alive. Either that or the writers are really screwing with us.
I think Eloise is alive, okay? Because they wouldn't emphasize the fact that, Victor says, I buried my sister is dead. But I mean, I'm not really sure because her bones were so small that I'm not really sure. And he was a child. He was a very traumatized child at the time. So we can't really rely on Victor's memory. He didn't even remember he had a sister. So can we really rely on his memory when he tells us that his sister is dead? It's like you didn't remember her in the first place.
Absolutely not.
So we can't really rely on that. Now, for who was knocking on the cabins, I
Ooh.
think that if they want to just elegantly tie everything up, right? Because unfortunately, we don't have enough time if it's only going to be 6 seasons. And if they want to provide an answer for everything, Julie has now become the answer to everything. She threw the rope, she knocked at the cabin, she put the food
Ah,
there, she planted the food, she
oh
hid the
God.
talismans, right? You could elegantly, if you want to save time, you could just make Julie the person who wraps up all of the loose ends. So
Mhm.
it all depends which way they want to go. As I understand it, they're still working. The story's not set in stone. They're
Yeah,
changing things, right? Like Victor was not supposed to be a regular, and they
yeah.
changed that. So who knows? If they want to just shorten the story, they don't have to bring Eloise back. They left enough of a doubt that they could if they wanted to. They don't have to. And Julie could be the answer for everything, which I don't like. But I
Yeah.
do acknowledge that that would be fitting.
I mean, it would be a neat way for them to tie a lot of things up. I mean, it would be very lazy writing, but it would elegantly and neatly tie a lot of things up. And I'm with you. I hope they don't go that route because I do think that is lazy storytelling at the end of the day. It's kind of like a cheat code, but it would wrap some things up nicely if they did want to go that route. But we'll see. And I mean, this is another one. I mean, there are still people out there that believe From and Lost might be in the same universe. But I don't know. Eloise isn't Lost. She fell into a different loop. I mean, there is a very prominent character on Lost named Eloise. This is true. But I think they're two different people. Minerva hopes that there will be a spider. Okay, awesome. I just don't see how they'd beat one. Yeah, guns do nothing to the monsters, so how do they beat a giant spider? And that's another thing. I mean, while some of these, big monsters and giant spiders might be cool and sound cool to see on screen, you have to think of the practical effect, the practicality of writing something like that into the script. Because yeah, how are they going to take down a giant spider? Unless there's some very like specific weapon that they have that can take it out. But then I feel like we're getting like really too deep into like fantasy and stuff. One thing I like about From is the horror has been relatively grounded for the most part. Yes, there's monsters that come out at night and talismans and stuff like that, but that stuff is very minimal. A lot of the stuff that we see on From is pretty grounded when it comes to horror. So I'm not sure if a giant spider would fit very well in with what we've already seen on the show. I guess it depends on how big it is. Like, how big are we talking? Are we talking, giant spiders that are like 10 feet tall, or like a 4-foot spider? I guess is the question. But yeah, I guess part of me, I don't know. I think part of me doesn't really want to see a giant spider on From. I don't know. I'm just not quite sure how that would look alongside all of the other really great horror elements we have on the show. Is it sophisticated enough for From, I guess?
Hmm. I think that that's a really good point. And I like that the fact that you're bringing up the sophistication of From. So far, the story has been so cohesive in their aesthetic that it's not coming off as cheesy. The one
Yeah,
time that they got really close to being a little cheesy was with the puppet.
the puppet.
The puppet, right? That's the one time that I was like, I don't know how the puppet fits into the aesthetic that we have established, where things are paranormal but not at the same time. They're very based on reality, right? But they're spooky still. The puppet talking was going to be the defining factor of if they keep the aesthetic going, or if all of a sudden it becomes cheesy. And they chose not to have the puppet talk, which I thought
Yeah,
was great. I
me too.
thought that
Me
is
too.
great. It is sophisticated, right? Sophisticated horror. If the puppet had been talking and had been like an object that has been taken over by a demon of sorts, then we're getting into a cheesy territory. But they went away with the puppet. I remember that you were very nervous to hear what the puppet's voice was going to be like.
Oh God, yeah. I was very nervous to hear what the puppets, what the puppet was going to sound like, and as long as it didn't sound like that, I probably would have been okay. Yeah, I don't know. I just think I mean, and I totally admitted this last year when season 3 was actively airing that I have a bit of a bias when it comes to like talking dolls. I'm not a big Chucky fan. I do not like the franchise Chucky. I feel like it's ridiculous in every sense of in every way. So I guess when I see stuff like that getting introduced into From, I think, okay, like where are we heading now? Like where are we going? Like where's the ceiling? You know, because the horror on From has been pretty sophisticated for the most part, and for me, talking dolls just don't line up with the level of sophistication that we've seen on From up until this point. So I was very relieved when it wasn't really a talking doll, that it was just Victor misremembering.
Yeah,
Very.
do you remember the episode? Okay, so we get to see the puppet. This is great. I remember vividly. I love the show, so vividly I remember the first time watching each
Yeah.
episode. We were waiting to hear the puppet's voice, and they opened the episode with Sarah doing the puppet's voice and moving
Yeah.
the puppet saying, "Hi, Victor, do you want to play? Do you want to play with me?" And Victor's like, "No, you're not doing it right."
You're
But for a
not
minute,
doing
I
it
thought, oh
right.
my God, that is the voice. He freaks out on her. He's like, "You're not doing it right." And he starts going crazy on her. But she's like, "I don't know what you want." And he's saying, "Do you want to play with me?" They close up on the puppet. So they make you believe, oh, the puppet's talking. Like that's his
Yeah.
voice,
Yeah.
Sarah's voice. It was so good. And then you just see Victor getting pissed off at Sarah, saying
Yeah.
like, "You can't even do that, right after he accuses her of murder and all of it." But yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I remember that opening vividly too. You're right. It was super hilarious. You see Sarah down there in the basement just doing everything she can to try and do this right for Victor. And just like, no, you're not doing it right. And again, just brilliant performance by Scott McCord to be able to project that kind of childlike, pouty mentality. He's so good at playing a kid stuck in an adult body. But yeah, good stuff. Very, very good stuff. Yeah, I got a notification too. We got some more snow coming. It is not over, unfortunately. There is some more snow on the way. So buckle up, everybody. Round 2 is coming. Welcome, Kiwi. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, I don't get why they keep shooting the monsters. Complete waste of bullets. I mean, at this point, it is kind of pointless, right? I mean, I think the show has well established that bullets do nothing to these monsters. So yeah, I mean, save your bullets for something that they might actually be useful for. Hell, even the bile bullets didn't do a damn thing. So yeah. I get. When's the last time we saw Boyd shoot a monster? It's been a little while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a while. The last shooting that we had in Fromville was
Was it
the
Acosta's?
iconic, yes,
Was it
the
Acosta?
iconic Acosta shooting. That was the last shooting that we had, and it
It
was
was,
amazing.
right?
It was everything I wanted and more. Um, she shoots this girl who's doing nothing. She's just standing by the window, but also you could tell it was so funny because when that episode aired, we were talking amongst us and we were saying it is so obvious that some of the people in From have never lived in the ghetto or like the city.
Yeah,
They have
yeah.
no skills. They have no skills. Okay. I have lived in places where there's shootings, active shootings constantly. The last thing that you do is go stand by the window to look at, like,
Literally
hey,
the last thing you do.
who's
Yeah.
shooting? Like, what's up? Right? You don't do that. And she was doing that. She opens the window. She's like looking. It's like, you're asking for it, girl. You were asking for it.
Yeah.
So silly.
Yeah, not yeah, yeah. You hear shots, the last thing you do is go to the window, people. You hear shots, you duck and cover. You do like Bert the Turtle and duck and cover. Don't run to the window. But yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, Costa, she came in literally guns blazing. She came into Fromville literally guns blazing. And I think you're right. I think that might have been the last time we saw a firearm used on From. I think that was the last time we saw any kind of shooting, be it monster or human on human. But yeah, complete waste of bullets at this point. These monsters, You ain't going to take them down that way, that's for sure. And at this point, even if you do find a way to kill the monsters, a successful way, is it even worth doing? I mean, we saw what happened when Boyd killed Smiley. Fatima ended up getting pregnant with Smiley so he could get reborn into Frumville. So what's to say if they take out another monster that isn't going to happen again to someone else? So killing them might not be an option at all anymore. But I do hope that Boyd returns to his storyline. In season 3, they set up the storyline of Boyd potentially trying to trap one of the monsters and interrogate one of them. That I think is a better. I think that's a better course to take. Knowing what we know now about the monsters, knowing what Boyd now knows about the monsters after he himself saw Smiley reborn, I'm hoping they return to that storyline in season 4 where Boyd tries to capture a monster, and maybe that will be how we get some definitive answers. I mean, we did see season 4, episode 4, I believe, 4 or 5, is titled Of Myths and Monsters. What if that's the episode where Boyd captures a monster, interrogates it, and we finally get some definitive answers?
Yeah, I like it because we already saw a little bit of Boyd's interrogation tactics, right?
Yep.
When he was trying to interrogate Elgin to find Fatima. So we know that he's the man for the job. After all, he was working like in active war. So he knows how to do this. If
Yeah.
anybody knows how to do it, it's him. However, where I'm having a little bit of trouble seeing how that could provide us any answers is they lie. These monsters lie. They do not tell you the truth. I was thinking with the girl that kisses that guy at Colony House, when I examined the dialogue and she says, well, I didn't ask for this, like I didn't really ask for this.
I didn't choose to be this. Yeah. Jasmine.
Exactly. Jasmine. Yeah. When Jasmine is talking, I was thinking, is it that they tell you the truth in a way where they're still going to get you? Because that might be the truth, that she didn't ask for that. Because I imagine they didn't make a deal to become monsters. They just wanted eternal life, not in that manner, not in that way. So technically, it's the truth. However, I go back to Grandma. When we open the show, the first thing that we ever see is the monsters lying. They're saying to Megan, I'm your grandma, right?
Grandma.
Standing in the second floor window. It's me, I'm your grandma, open the door. So they lie. They lie constantly. That's what I'm thinking. Is it going to provide us answers? Or is he just going to end up with a monster who is just torturing him back by telling him things that he doesn't want to hear?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I feel like we've gotten a good mix up until this point of the monsters telling us the truth and lies. Because Jasmine was truthful with some of the stuff that she was saying, like in terms of not choosing to be this. So I don't know. I feel like it's definitely a better option than trying to just outright take them out. I mean, they still need to learn some more information. They have to uncover this information somehow. And to abandon that storyline the way they did in season 3 like that just was kind of infuriating. So I think for that reason alone, I'm hoping that they return to it. I hate when they just drop storylines like that with no explanation as to why they're dropping the storyline. It kind of just faded out into nothing. But I don't know. We'll see.
Wait,
we shall
you
see.
Guys, I have an idea. Okay.
Uh-oh.
I have an idea. You can hold the monster. And I really like what Palma Shelby is saying and Kiwi Skirt in the chat. They don't have regular needs. Therefore, it's going to be hard to stress them out to get any sort of answer from them. However, I'm thinking, I have an idea. The monsters only come out at night.
They don't like coming out during the day.
They do not come out during the day. We do not know what happens to them in the sun. We have seen them sleeping underneath, right? In the tunnels, they're sleeping there during the day, but it's dark. The tunnels are dark. Part of me believes that the reason why the monsters only come out at night is because part of the deal of the sacrifice, they made those children be born in the dark and they lived in the dark and they died in the dark.
And now the monsters have to be born in the dark and live in the dark.
Exactly. And now the monsters have to experience the same life that they provided for those children. It's like you get eternal life, but you will
That's their
only come out
curse.
at night.
They get
Exactly. So
immortality. Yeah. But
part of
their
it is the
immortality
nighttime
is yes. No, I love that. I love that. I think that
because of the
it's a
children, right?
very, yeah, I think it's a very just, fitting punishment for the parents, and a good explanation to explain how and why they turned into what they turned into. They thought they were getting this immortality when little did they know they were being tricked into suffering the same fate that they forced on these children, only for all
Exactly.
eternity.
So they're never going to get to see the sun. They're never going to get to experience life. They don't get that ability, just like the children were deprived of that. We see how the children were living, and now they, in turn, are living in the tunnels. So you hold the monster, and then you put them out in the sun, because maybe they don't have needs of food or
Just see what
water,
happens. Just see
but
what happens. Yeah.
maybe putting them out in the sun can do something to them, kill them, vampire style, you know?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Like Bill D says, yeah, you make it, you threaten it by, threatening to drag it out into the sun. Yeah. Hmm.
Exactly.
Maybe. It might be the way. It might be the way. Yeah, I like it. 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 Okay, let's see what else we got here, shall we? I don't know why my chat froze. My chat
Mine
is
too,
frozen on me.
but I could see it on my phone.
Yeah, I can see it on my other screen. All right, taking a look at the poll, will there be a giant spider on From? And now it looks like no has taken the lead. We started off with yes firmly in the lead, and now it looks like no has overtaken yes 49% to 51%. Super close. The chat is practically split down the middle when it comes to will there be a giant spider in From. 59% to 49% to 51%. Super close, guys. Super close. We'll see where that goes. Okay, there we go. Now my chat's moving again. Thank you. All right, let's see what else we got here.
What do
Yeah,
you
they just
think would
feel like
happen to the monsters during the day?
if you drag them out during the sunlight, I don't know. I mean, and that's the thing. When Smiley got killed, when Boyd kills Smiley, they leave his body just out in the road. The sun comes up the next day, nothing happens. He doesn't burn up, he doesn't shrivel up like a vampire or anything like that. It's just nothing. I don't know. Part of me starts to think that nothing will happen if they come out during the day, or maybe they'll just scurry to get back into the dark. I mean, I feel like it could be like I like the idea of them being forced to be in the dark. The children were born in the dark and they died in the dark. I love the idea of the parents kind of being forced to suffer that same fate, where now they have this immortality, but they're forced to live. But they were born and are forced to live now in the dark. So what does that mean? Does that mean they can't come into the sunlight because it'll kill them? Is it just simply a rule that they can't follow? I don't know. I mean, again, when we saw Smiley's body out there in the sun, the fact that there was no adverse reaction tells me that this is something that might just be a rule that has a more magical explanation as opposed to a physical reaction. Maybe they just can't come out in the light. Will it kill them? Will it hurt them? I have no idea at this point. But I'd love to know what you guys think, and you as well, PM. What do you think? I mean, if Boyd or somebody was able to trap a monster and leave it out until the sun came up, what would happen? What would happen to the monster if he was out during the sunlight? I don't know. I feel like they haven't really given us much of an indication to tell us what would happen.
They have not. However, they have emphasized you can live a life, right? Because the first thing that we know is the rules that have been established. At nighttime, it's going to get rough. You might die. But during the day, you could live a semblance of a life. You could pretend that everything is okay. You can try your best to live a normal life. So why is it that the monsters can't come out during the day? It must be because some part of them is going to get hurt or damaged.
Or
Because
believes they will.
there's no reason why to hide away if nothing's going to happen to you. There's absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
The only reason why you would hide underground in a way where they can't find you, right? Because they kind of, as a pack, hide underground, would be so that you can be protected, for protection. So something bad must happen to them. Is it going to be like a vampire? Hopefully not, because I would not like that. I wouldn't like that the sun just is the answer, right?
Yeah.
But something must happen to them. Maybe they experience pain, and that can help you get some answers from them, which is where I was going with this. I would like for Boy to trap a monster, put him out in the sun, ask him questions, because maybe that is the only thing that can you could have leverage of them experiencing. They have to experience some sort of pain. But how do you make them experience pain when a bullet doesn't hurt them? Maybe it's the sun. I think the sun is the answer.
Maybe. I mean, we know at the very least that they are capable of physically feeling pain. When Boyd killed Smiley, when he put the worms into Smiley, it's not like Smiley just dropped dead. He screamed in pain for a good while before he died. So they are capable of feeling pain under the right circumstances. And how is that just because that was just the worms and that was an anomaly? Or is there some way to hurt them other than the worms? Maybe the sun, like you mentioned. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, Ty has an interesting one right here. I think this is actually pretty cool because that's another question that we have not gotten even a little hint as to an answer as to why that guy was under that boulder inside the root cellar that Jade saw. Jade's first vision. That's the first vision he ever has. Ty says, to add to your vampire theory, PM to add to your vampire theory, I was thinking Jade's vision of the dude under a rock was showing how they trapped a monster until daylight. Then they opened that cellar door. That's interesting. That's a very interesting one. Again, we haven't really had any solid or even hint to explain what that was that Jade saw. But I like this theory better than any other here, as much as any other theory I've heard about that boulder and the dude under it, that it was their way of trapping a monster and leaving it there until the sun came up. I like that, Ty. I think that's a cool one.
Ty is so 80. I really like that theory. And let's go ahead and add to what you're adding. Not only is that guy somebody we need an answer for, but remember the guy that is just bones? All he is bones, and everybody said that's Martin. And we were analyzing his t-shirt and his pants.
People thought it was Jade because he had similar pants as Jade on and a similar shirt to Jade, but it was different once you zoomed in.
That could be another monster. That could be another of the people, right? We know that this goes in cycles. That could be another monster that they tried to trap because he was trapped in there. If they had not moved the bureau, you could not get in there. So maybe that was another monster that they tried to trap.
Maybe. Might be. Yeah, the monster under the rock with the bleeding eyes could be because of the sun. I mean, maybe. It's again, I think it's as cool a theory as anything else I've heard to explain the guy under the boulder. It's a good one. It's a good one, Ty. I like it. I poured all my hope. I poured my hope into my vote for no giant spider. Well, it seems like it's getting a little closer. It looks like the yes has retaken the lead. The no's had it for a few minutes, but it looks like the yeses are making a comeback. Will there be a giant spider in From? 57% of you say yes, there will be. So the yes are firmly in first place yet again. So that's going back and forth all night. Love it. I wonder if the monsters have rules they must obey, and that could be one of them. But yeah, no way to know. That's kind of how I look at it as well, Kiwi, because not just, for the simple fact that it would make sense that there are rules. There are many rules in Fromville that need to be followed. But you also hear some of the actors and the writers talking about that specifically, that this place has rules. Like Harold Perrineau has, said it in multiple interviews. Even John Griffin has stated in interviews before that this place has certain rules that it follows. And that's kind of how I look at it when it comes to the monsters and coming out during the daylight. I'm not so sure if the sunlight will physically harm them. I think it's more along the lines as it's just one of those rules that they must obey, kind of thing. Just like before winter came around, one of the rules was it never got cold here. There were certain rules that Fromville had to abide by, at least up until recently. And I think that's kind of how I viewed it as well. But you never know. I mean, until we actually see a living monster outside in the sun, it's really hard to know because, as by the time we saw Smiley in the sun, he was already dead. So it's hard to know, but that's kind of how I viewed it as well, Kiwi, as though it's like just a rule that they can't break. But I don't know. I would like to get a definitive answer one way or another. Yeah.
There is something in the chat that I really want to point out because I think that we kind of have answers. Okay. Rolo Cola 15 says the blood drinker was a previous version of Elgin. He has an eye missing. Ooh. Well, yeah, Rolo Cola 15. I think not Elgin, but you're close. Who was drinking blood? Fatima. So Elgin was not drinking his own blood. Elgin was opening up and giving his blood to Fatima, saying the baby needs blood, right? And Fatima, even though she couldn't stomach anything else, could stomach the blood. She was drinking blood. So maybe that is a previous version of Fatima, somebody that was pregnant with another one of the monsters and was drinking blood.
A male pregnancy. I mean, these are weird pregnancies, so who knows? Who knows what's possible? It's a magical pregnancy to begin with. So, yeah, maybe a male can give birth to a monster.
It could be anyone.
You never know.
It is a thought after all. He was drinking blood. Who else drinks blood? Fatima.
Fatima's the only other one that we have seen drink blood. I mean, and that's still a debate with where the monsters are concerned. Even up until this day, a lot of people are kind of split as to whether or not the monsters are eating their victims or just ripping them apart. That is still really not definitive. But yeah, no, that's interesting. I mean, Fatima is the only other one that we have actually seen drink blood. I mean, when I first saw the guy with the skull, those were my first two original thoughts as well. Elgin came to mind, right? Because the eye, but also Jade. Part of me starts to wonder if a lot of these visions that Jade is seeing, he's seeing previous incarnations of himself. That's why he's seeing Christopher. We know Christopher was the previous Jade before Jade. So part of me starts to wonder if all these people that Jade has seen are previous versions of his original incarnation, previous incarnations of him. Either that or the Elgin thing's the only other thing that comes to mind just based on the one eye. But they also lost their eye in two totally different ways. I mean, we saw that the guy drinking out of the skull, he lost his eye because he had a railroad spike shoved through his eye and he was tethered to a tree. Very similar to how we saw Kelly get killed. In season 2, we see Kelly get, the monsters put that piece of rebar through her forehead and stick her to the tree. I think the same thing happened to that guy, only with a railroad spike through his eye and he got stuck to the tree just like Kelly. But part of me always wondered if all of these people that Jade is seeing are previous incarnations of Jade. Now that we know Jade has been reincarnated multiple times, is he seeing past versions of himself, like Christopher and everything else he's seen? That's kind of where I lean. But no, I think the Elgin idea is an interesting idea, and the Fatima idea is also interesting as well. There's some similarities there with the blood drinking, so who knows?
Where I have a difficulty with the reincarnations and them seeing previous versions of themselves.
Yeah,
I was completely following the theory until Jade is the one that plays the violin. But in the previous life, it was Miranda who played the violin. She's the one that played Twinkle Twinkle Little Star for Victor. So Tabitha should have been the one that plays the violin for the children to come out, because Miranda played the violin for her child, for Victor. She would play the violin for her child, for her children. It would make sense that that's a leftover ability or skill from her previous lives where she played the violin. But in this one, it was Jade who played the violin, not Tabby. And Tabby didn't really see any other reincarnations of herself. We don't have her seeing visions. The visions are mainly Jade. So that's what confuses me. Why is it that Jade is the one that plays when it should have been Tabitha?
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But for me, I don't feel like that negates the Jade seeing previous versions of himself. I just feel like, and Tabitha hasn't been seeing as much, but she's had a few visions of Miranda up until this point. You know, like she's had a few little light visions of Miranda. But no, I don't know. I mean, you know, is it one of those things where it flip flops? Maybe is it, you know, at every incarnation there's a different violin player, or is it simply just coincidence? I have no idea. But no, that's a good question. You know, if they're following this pattern, these cycles reoccurring, then yeah, you would think Tabitha would be the one playing the violin, not Jade.
Yeah. But I will add to your theory. I do think that Jade is seeing previous versions of himself, and I think he's seeing them just like Miranda did, because we have confirmation of that. So Miranda's husband,
yeah, we know she.
Yeah. We know she did, because her husband says she was seeing all of these versions of who she was previously. But we also know that she liked to get high and like do stuff, right? She liked to party.
And who likes to get high?
Tabitha doesn't do that, but who also likes to get high?
Exactly.
Jade does. Exactly. So maybe Tabitha wasn't seeing so much because she wasn't doing all of the drugs, and Jade does because
I think so.
He was high most of the time. Remember, they really emphasized that he was drunk or high to the point where the bartender says, "Hey, dude, you need to stop drinking," and like
he's always impaired on something.
So that's why he was able to see previous versions of himself, because he was partaking in Colony's house,
herbage.
Yes. And maybe if Tabitha would have done it, maybe she would have seen some stuff too. So
maybe. I mean, because Henry does specifically say that it wasn't until Miranda took that acid for the last time that her vision started. It's like literally right after she takes the acid, that's when the vision started for Miranda. Almost like, you know, it unlocked it inside of her. And yeah, maybe that is the reoccurring theme. We know Jade is heavy into substances and cannabis. And yeah, that could be the perfect explanation as to why he's seeing more of these visions and Tabitha isn't yet. Her mind maybe might just not be open to it like Jade's is. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? I think a guy under the boulder was just stoned. Maybe he was just stoned to death. Maybe that could be it. That very well could be it. Oh, shit. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's see what else we got. Scrolling down, it's going to cost to make a realistic huge spider. Might maybe at night it wouldn't be as hard and expensive to pull off. It would have to be a nighttime scene. Absolutely. I mean, for a show like From, with the budget that they have and how they mainly rely on practical effects, they don't use, you know, From doesn't use a whole lot of CGI. We get a little bit of it when the monsters kind of turn into monster form. But then that goes right into prosthetics, like the prosthetic monster face is even practical. So they don't use a ton of CGI and they don't have a huge budget to do that. So yes, if they were to do some kind of giant spider scene, most definitely it would be a nighttime scene. 100,000,000%. There's no way they would do that during the day. It would look incredibly wonky on a show like this. With their budget, I imagine they wouldn't be able to get like a super good looking one CGI wise. Maybe they could get a nice animatronic one for a nice practical effect. but those kind of shots you can really only sell at night if you really want to make it look decent anyway. So yeah, if there is a giant spider scene, it will definitely be at night, 100%. I think the rules change as people get closer to figure things out, and it seems like that might be the case. Wolf Spear. I mean, we heard from the boy in white in season 3 when Victor says, "You're changing. You look different now," because we start to see that the boy in white is starting to age. And Victor asks him, "Hey, you look different now. You're changing." And the boy in white says, "Everything is changing now." And yeah, why exactly is that? How come when everything seemed to be the same in this place for Lord knows how long, at the very least, as long as Victor's been there, which is 40 plus years, he's never once seen a winter. He's never once seen the leaves change color and fall off the trees. Victor has never seen any of that happen in the 40 plus years he's been there. So why now? What is so special about this cycle? What is so special about this time period that things are starting to change? Well, yeah, I mean, I think the only thing that's different between this cycle and others is Jade and Tabitha. They're getting way closer to figuring things out than any cycle before them. And maybe that is changing Fromville. So yeah, I agree with you, Wolfspear. I think that's definitely the reason why we're seeing these changes now, because Jade and Tabitha are finally getting real answers. And that's probably why the man in yellow has only showed up until now as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with Spear 0351. And it would make sense if this is a game. If this is light versus dark, good versus evil, it would make sense that as you get closer to winning the battle, quote unquote, or winning the game, the stakes would get higher and you would go to the next level where now you are not even safe during the day. So it totally makes sense with what a lot of the family is thinking, that this is some sort of wager or game between two entities, an entity that wants people to escape from and is trying to help them, and an entity that does not want them to escape. I don't think that exactly wants to keep this going forever. This entity that wants from to keep going forever would not allow them to continue with the same rules as they get closer to the truth. I do think that there are some pre-established rules of this is what I can do as they get closer. As you have more of a leverage, I will also have more of an ability to hurt your game, sort of speak. And we know that because remember the librarian when Randall tries to put a talisman as a necklace and like walk around at night, which I thought was a brilliant idea. We needed him to do that. We really needed him to do that because I instantly thought, why don't you just like make your own, talisman?
We needed to know it wouldn't work.
Exactly. And she tells him, it does not work that way, honey. Like, sweetie, it doesn't work that way. So meaning, I see what you're doing, but there's rules and regulations, and that's not one of them. I could still get you. So they're not afraid of the talisman. They're not afraid of touching it. They're not afraid of the rock. They show no fear when it's close to them. It's more of an understanding of I follow the rules. The rock is not going to burn me or do anything. The talisman does nothing to me. I simply just have to follow the rules.
Yeah, could be. Could very well be. Mm-hmm. I like it. I mean, because we've seen so many of these hints to like actual rules in this place that have to get followed. But yeah, good stuff. Let's see what else we got. Are you sure Miranda played the violin? She played the song, but do we know it was the violin? Perhaps I'm misremembering. Yeah, it was Miranda that played the violin. We hear Victor tell Jade that he, that she would play that song, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star for him whenever he got scared, indicating that she would play it on the violin, I believe was the indication there. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's all but confirmed that it was Miranda that played the violin.
You guys, and the violin belonged to Miranda.
And it belonged
to her. That's why there's a violin. That's why there's one to begin with. It exists because Miranda had it. She owned it. That's why Victor gets pissed off when he's like, why did you go into my room and take the violin? Remember?
Mm-hmm. Yep. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's firmly established that yeah, it's hers. It was hers, and she would play it for Victor. Yeah, the vision of blood drinking felt more like symbolism for something, and that's the thing. A lot of the stuff that we see here on the show, and we are 100% right, Elizabeth, is just symbolic. It's symbolic, symbolism for something else that we're going to see. A metaphoric, a metaphoric kind of symbology. Not everything is going to be an exact one-to-one interpretation. Some things are going to be just symbolism at the end of the day. So yeah, not everything is going to be exactly kind of, exactly how it appears. But yeah, maybe the man drinking the blood out of the skull was symbolic of something else. Maybe he was symbolic of Fatima, of foreshadowing what Fatima was going to have to do. I mean, it could have been a foreshadowing for her, maybe. And this is the thing. Jade needs to get to the point where he's not deathly afraid of these visions. That's the problem. Jade, anytime he has one of these visions, he's deathly afraid of it. And that's not giving him the opportunity to actually, see what these visions are showing him and put on his objective kind of thinking cap and wonder, okay, what are these visions trying to tell me? It seems like he's just afraid of them. He sees the visions and he gets super freaking scared and just freaks out all the time. Jade needs to get to the point where he sees these visions and he starts thinking about them in a more constructive manner. He's got to conquer his fear of them, and he needs to start thinking, okay, what is this vision trying to tell me? I'm having these visions for a reason. This isn't just random stuff that they're showing me. Why are they showing me this stuff? Why am I seeing this stuff? And what does it mean? And in order to do that, he needs to stop being so damn afraid of them. He's just so afraid of these visions. Even to the end of season 3, he's still afraid of these visions. He needs to conquer his fear of them, and he needs to start realizing, okay, what are they trying to show me?
Yeah. And Tabitha too. Tabitha as well. I mean, we all know, and we were all very frustrated with Tabitha because anytime that she encountered the children, she would scream at them, no, 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 no. Like, I am not going to talk to you. I refuse to see you, right? She was very afraid of even interacting with the children. And it's like, Tabitha, this is the 5th time you've seen the Nkui children. Right? They kind of lose their spookiness after you seeing them. Like for the 5th, 6th time. It's like, girl, you know what they're gonna do. They're gonna come, they're gonna touch you, they're gonna say Nkui. You know this. Try
and
to
then
communicate
they're gonna disappear.
with them. That's it. Exactly. You know this. This isn't your first rodeo. Yeah. But she also had this fear. I'm thinking that now that they are aware of who they were, they must confront their guilt and continue to move forward and their mission, which is to save the children's soul, sort of way, right? Save the children. The children are dead, so I'm guessing their soul. And it's gonna have to be them working through that guilt, because when they find out, I always go back to the fact that they left that little Nkui child. That was their child. That's their kid.
Know.
They left her there waiting. She's like, Nkui, like, remember, Mom?
They both just well, Tabitha walked away from her. Jade stayed.
She screamed at her one last time. She's like, for the road, one for the road. No. And she took off, even though she totally remembered who the little girl was. She didn't embrace her. She just left her there. And so what that tells me is that even though you recognize what you have done, you know who that is, you know that's your child, you run away from her and you will not accept the guilt. And that is also a theme in Tabitha's life, because we know that Thomas, they had a little boy with Jim who passed away due to a mistake of both parents, a 50-50 mistake of both parents. And she blamed Jim for it. She says, every time I see you, that's all I see. So there's this inability to confront the guilt of having done something wrong that may have hurt her child. It's a theme in her life and in her reincarnation. So I'm thinking now it's not the fear that we are going to have to navigate. Now it's going to be the guilt. Can she face them? Because so far, I mean, now she remembers. That's great. She's still running away from them. It's not helping.
It's not. I mean, literally her first memory that she gets back of her original self and of one of these Onkui children being hers. And yeah, she tails and just runs. And like you said, that's exactly what happened between her and Jim when Thomas died. That's a very good point. This is a pattern with her. We're seeing a pattern with Tabitha now where she's tends to run away from her problems as opposed to facing them head on. So yeah, I mean, and I agree with Daryl. Daryl, I think it was Daryl that said it in the chat. Yeah, now that Jade, not just Jade, but Tabitha as well, remember who they are, they'll probably be more willing to face these kinds of visions for his daughter. And I think, and I'm hoping that's going to be the case as well, not just with Jade, but with Tabitha as well. Now that they actually remembered who they are, what really happened, and I imagine who knows what else they're going to continue to start remembering as the season progresses. But that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that now that they know a little bit more about what's really going on here in Fromville, that will give them a little bit more of the courage that they need to stop being so afraid of this stuff and to start looking at it with a more inquisitive eye as opposed to a fearful eye. So I hope that's what we see from them.
Hopefully. I'm going to need Tabitha to confront what they did. We love Jade and Tabitha, right? We were just talking about how Jade is one of our favorite characters. However, going into the next season, we do kind of have to come to terms with the fact that Jade, the original Jade, was totally in with the sacrificing of the children. They were in until the last minute.
They were in until
the last minute. They were all for it. They
so sure of that.
They even sang lullabies to the children. The children are older. That means that every night they had an opportunity to change their mind, and they didn't.
And they didn't until the last second is what it looks like.
We have to come to terms with the fact that our favorite characters, they were in on it. They were part of it.
Yeah, I think that's just going to be a much more compelling storyline. I mean, it's one thing if they were against it from the beginning and they were just kind of playing along, but I feel like that's not as compelling of a story. I feel like it's a much more, it just makes it much more interesting, makes it much more sticky if the original Jade and the original Tabitha were in on it. They were in on this thing from the very beginning. They were totally fine with sacrificing their child and all of these other children. But the more time they started to spend with them, the more lullabies they started to sing to them at night, they started to develop an attachment. And yeah, right at the last minute, they had a change of heart is what it seems happened. But I'm that's one thing I'm hoping to get confirmation on, or at least whatever really happened, some kind of confirmation. Were they in on it the whole time? Did they change their mind at the last minute? Or were they against it from the very beginning and they just played along? Like, that is something I really, really want to know about this original Jade and this original Tabitha, and what the original Jade and the original Tabitha looked like. I don't know why. Yes, they're all just reincarnations, but I guess how similar does this Jade look to the original Jade? How similar does this Tabitha look to the original Tabitha? I don't know. For some reason, I just want to see what the original pair looked like. But yeah, good stuff. Good.
And we're going to, because they're going to show us the sacrifice.
We got to see it.
Like, this is something that's going to happen. There's no way that they don't show us the sacrifice. So we will be able to see the faces of the original parents. Hopefully it's just a flashback and we get to hang out with the characters that we know, with our Tabitha and our Jade. Because if we are spending that much time where it's not just a flashback, but we are hanging out with the original Jade and Tabitha, it's going to be different actors. It's not going to be these guys. And I much rather see their journey as they are now, as they are today. What makes the sacrifice more brutal is that the children are older children. Usually when you get a story of sacrifice, which is why From is really interesting, when you get a story of sacrifice, the sacrifice happens either immediately,
a baby,
when the child, you gather the child and then immediately the child is sacrificed, or the person is sacrificed. What makes this story more brutal and makes them more culpable is the fact that the children were born. There's a long period of time. Those children are about 10.
10 years old, right? 8, 10 at least.
10. That means that this is a long period of time that the children had to survive underground. They lived in the dark. They were born in the dark and then be sacrificed at an older age. So it makes it more brutal. because you're extending the time of sacrificing the children's life in many different forms, because they don't get to live a normal life until you kill them, you know?
Yeah, it does. It makes it way more tragic, way more savage, way more dark. Like that makes it way fucking darker to know that these children were potentially born for the specific purpose of being sacrificed. It's not like these parents just had children and all of a sudden one day all decided to sacrifice their own children. It seems like they deliberately had these children for this very purpose. Like you said, they were born in the dark, lived in the dark, and died in the dark, almost as though they were only born for this specific purpose, just to get sacrificed. I mean, can you imagine how dark of a soul you have to do something like that, to birth 7 children into the world, knowing that you are just going to shove them in a cave and into a cage and sacrifice them when they turn 8 or 10 years old? Like, that's super savage. That's super dark. But and again, it would explain a lot, especially the Ankui children and how they look. If they have been in those caves the whole time, they would have been completely deprived of sunlight, and hence the patchy hair, the paleness, the messed up clothes, the tatters. It would just fit. It would kind of fit nicely. But it's super dark, though. Super fucking dark. Do we still think there's a mole, or has that theory gone? I just think Donna knows more than she's letting on. I mean, the mole theory it's one of those ones that kind of always rears its head and pops up every once in a while. I feel like you can't have a season of From where at least, at least revisiting the is there a mole theory kind of thing. It's kind of always present. I don't think so personally. At this point, I just don't feel like there's really a need to have a mole. Everything that's happening inside the town, the monsters know, the entity knows. Like they already have a way of surveilling them 24/7. And now, I mean, I suppose that could be explained where it was a mole the whole time, but I just feel like it's a little more of a kind of a supernatural kind of surveillance that they have on these people during the day, where they can kind of see what they're doing. But I don't know. Who knows? Has there been a mole there the whole time that's feeding the monsters and these other entities all this information? I mean, I suppose it's possible. I think it's very unlikely. So for me, I think the mole theory is all but kaput, but you never know. What about you, PM? You think there's still a slight possibility that there could be a mole within Fromville, among the humans in Fromville? Or are we a little too late into the game to be doing a mole storyline?
I just think that the minute that they introduce time travel, because that's what it is, story walking is just another way of calling it time travel, the mole theory was done. Because now that you're introducing this aspect of life where things are not linear, there is no reason to have a mole. And now that we have the man in yellow who says to Jim, hey, I told you that your wife shouldn't have been digging that hole, Jim. So he was able to see that without being in the home. We see that somebody's house was able to get completely crushed down without anybody seeing somebody pressing down on the house, or somebody doing something physically to the house.
Nothing near it getting disturbed, only that house.
So what that means is that there is a 4-dimensional being. A 4-dimensional being would be a being that is able to see your reality without you seeing them. Somebody that could put their finger and squash your house and you wouldn't see them, because you are not in that dimension. They would be able to hear everything that goes on, and time wouldn't be linear. They could see the future, the past, what you're doing currently, and they could intervene. So when you have that ability, you don't need a human to tell you what they're saying. There is no need for a human. You are above that, which I do think that the man in yellow is a 4-dimensional being. He has to be, if he was able to hear that.
Yeah, he's got some level of extra sensory perception, without a doubt. Like, however it works, I'm not sure, but yeah, he does not need to be there to see what is going on there. This is something that's more powerful than the monsters. This is something that is, like you said, capable of seeing things without having to be there. But yeah, in terms of the mole, is Donna the mole? Is Randall the mole? Is this character the mole? I just feel like we kind of are too far and too late into the game. Usually when you get these kind of mole storylines, they happen kind of early on to around like the middle of the story. But I don't know. From is very unconventional in its storytelling methods. This show does stuff that other shows don't do. So you never know. Me personally, I don't think there's a mole, but who knows? I never thought there was a mole other than Lord Ravener, of course, says Kiwi. Yeah, Ravener's the real mole. Everybody knows Ravener's the true mole. It's him the whole time. So Jade takes on Miranda's theme to save the kids, and Tabitha takes on Christopher's theme to massacre the town. Oof. Interesting, Bill. Interesting, Bill. That's a very interesting one. I mean, maybe, who knows? What's the thing? I mean, even when it comes to Christopher, there's still so much about Christopher that we don't even know. We're not even 100% sure if he did have a hand in massacring the town. All we really have to go on is Victor's word of him saying that his mother told him and Eloise to hide somewhere where Christopher couldn't find them. I mean, that could mean any number of things, really, at the end of the day. So I'm still not 100% convinced that Christopher is this big bad villain that he kind of might appear to be. I mean, I get the feeling we might get a little subversion of expectations there, maybe. But who knows? Who knows? But no, it's an interesting idea. The reversal, the swapping of the themes. Is Tabitha going to be revealed to be the real villain the whole time? Is Tabitha the real big bad? I don't know. But it's an interesting idea, Bill B. Very interesting. Let's see what else we got. Scrolling down. Does anyone else utilize the trees the rest of the way? Has Dale soured even Victor on them? That's a good question. I mean, these faraway trees were always a little temperamental to begin with. I mean, I get the feeling that the boy in white is behind all of the faraway trees, and I think we've at least seen some pretty good evidence that the only time a faraway tree incident happened was the one time the boy in white wasn't involved, and that was with Dale. But yeah, could the town seeing what happened to Dale, could that kind of make the rest of them hesitant to step into the faraway trees again? Are the faraway trees going to be like off limits for the beginning of season 4 because Boyd's trying to keep the town safe? I don't know, but I think that's a very valid question to ask. Is it going to make people hesitant to use them now?
I mean, that's a really interesting question, Palma Shelby. I don't think that Victor would be somebody that is against using the trees because he has way too much experience using them successfully.
Yeah, he knows it's already a possibility and he uses them anyway. So Victor probably not. It's a good point.
Exactly, right? He's the one that throws the little rock and shows Ethan, like, look at what happens when I throw this rock, it comes back. So he has been there long enough that he knows when to use them and when not to use them. Victor could probably have told Dale that was not going to work out. But as we know, Victor doesn't say anything. I'm sure that before Dale, he wasn't the only one that had enough guts to try the trees. I'm sure there was other people before him in the 50 years that Victor has been there. There has to have been another person. Just Victor does not tell anybody any of the information that he has. So I think Victor is going to continue to use the trees. As for the town, Boyd was really good when he screamed at everybody. Remember, everybody was watching when Dale got stuck in the pool, and Boyd was angry. Scene. And Boyd was so angry. He was like a parent who's telling a child, I told you so. This is why I told you not to do that.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that he's even going to have to say a thing. Nobody's going to dare. I wouldn't. Would you?
I mean, it would have to be, I don't know. I don't know if I would. I mean, this is Fromville we're talking about, and these trees are going to be very important, and we know they're going to have to be utilized in some manner. I would be super hesitant to it. I don't think I would step into one of them after seeing that unless I had like a really, really good idea going in that I was heading to a certain location. I don't know. like Tabitha, like when she was going into the faraway tree, she knew it was going to take her to the lighthouse. That's a little bit different. If I had like that kind of knowledge going into it, yeah, I would probably use it. But just randomly now, I don't know. I don't think I'd step in it just randomly now. Dale is, I don't want to be the eternal pool boy right alongside Dale. Fuck that. The eternal lifeguard of the Fromville pool. Oh, thank you. Well, thank you. Let's see what else we got. Okay, one thing I did want to take a look at is we had some interesting theories from some of these episode titles in the Discord and in the comment section. So I'm just going to take a look at a few of them here, and we will talk a little bit about them. Because again, these episode titles have been pretty interesting in terms of having something new to dissect, something new to take a look at. And I definitely want to hear everybody else's theories on it. What do you guys think some of these episode titles mean? What do they mean? If I can find the comments that I was going to bring up. Let's see. Where are some good ones? All right, here we go. Here we go. Yeah, boy in white seems the safest bet for making sure a tree is safe. I mean, it seems like it. It seems like the boy in white was involved in every single successful faraway tree usage, every single time. The arrival is the priest's daughter. Now that was, the arrival could be referring to any number of things, right? I mean, that was one thing that we were talking about when we first got these titles. Let's pull them up here and take a look, shall we? Yes, we know episode 1 is entitled The Arrival. And yeah, I mean, there's so many different characters that this could be referring to. It could be referring to the priest's daughter arriving in town, could be referring to the man in yellow arriving, or it could be referring to something not exactly, not a person or thing arriving, but the arrival of an event. And I thought that was an interesting idea, that it's more symbolic, like a symbolic arrival, a metaphorical arrival, the arrival of like a new time period in Fromville. We know things are changing, so it might not specifically mean a person or thing arriving. It could be the arrival of an event, maybe. Or the spider's arrival, maybe. Maybe.
I have a question. Guys, in the chat. And Jeremy, you have an excellent memory. Every single season, when we opened the season, I know that the first season there was an arrival because we opened the season with the Matthews family. They're traveling and they arrive into town. Then we get the bus. I believe that's how we opened the second season, right?
Yeah,
with the bus.
That's how season 1 ends and season 2 begins, with the bus arriving.
Okay, so then is there a pattern that every single time they open the season, there's a vehicle that's arriving into town? Because then that gives us the answer. It's going to be Sophia's arrival. If there's a pattern that we open every season with a new vehicle arriving into town.
Season 3. I don't think we had an arrival at the beginning of season 3. Season 3 is the only one where we did it. I think we don't get any arrivals until season 3, until we get to episode 4, when Tabitha comes back and brings Henry and some of the ambulance EMTs with her. But season 3, we do have a sort of arrival at the beginning of season 3, Tabitha arriving in the real world. Mm-hmm. So that's technically an arrival.
True.
So maybe there is I guess we'll have to see how season 4 starts. If Sophia pops up right in the first episode, will there be some kind of theme that there's always some kind of arrival to or from Fromville at the beginning of every season? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. We shall have to see when season 4 gets here. But yeah, the arrival, a lot of people seem to think the arrival is referring to Sophia. And that was my first thought as well. I mean, the man in yellow naturally comes to mind as well, considering he had a really big arrival at the end of the season. But I also like the idea that the arrival is potentially referring to like the arrival of an event, like some event is arriving and not exactly a person. But good stuff all around, either way. Good stuff around either way. All right, here we go. We had some interesting comments, and we're going to go back and forth between the comment section here on the live chat and the comment section on my latest video, which has some very, very interesting ones. And someone took the time to share their theory and what they think every single episode title means. And we're going to take the time to look at every single one of them. Thank you, Mond, for that as well, who's also a member of the channel, member for 1 year and 1 month. Thank you so much, Mond, for being a member of the channel. If you're not catching this live, if you're catching this on the replay, thank you so much, my friend. Yeah, let's take a look at these. Here's what I thought when reading through the titles. The Arrival might be the arrival of a new crucial character or characters, and or the arrival of the first people to Fromville. That I really like. I like that idea of the arrival referring to the original people arriving in Fromville. Is episode 1 a little too early to be revealing something like super big like that? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe not at all. But the arrival of the original settlers into Fromville is an interesting idea. I mean, if nothing else, that's definitely a flashback I would like to see.
I like that idea. I don't think that it's too early to share that. We have to remember, unfortunately, we're watching the penultimate
we're at the
season.
Yeah. This is the beginning of the end. Yeah.
This is the beginning of the end. Yeah. So is it too early? No, especially when we have so much that we need to wrap up. I like the idea. Yeah. At some point, we're going to see it, because if they depicted that on the cave wall, we're going to see that. There's going to be a flashback.
I think so. And I like that one. I think that's a good solid theory for what the arrival might potentially be referring to. So yeah, good one. Good on Mond. Good stuff. Yeah, it could be Jade and Tabitha recounting the original arrival. Yeah, and that could be a good context in which they show it to us, actually. That's actually a really good context. Because you don't want to just lazily throw in flashbacks whenever you need them. You want it to you want the narrative to kind of lead into the flashback. And that could be a perfect way to do it, where Jade and Tabitha are remembering all of their past lives, and maybe they're telling Boyd, or maybe they're telling Victor what they remember and what they remember of the original town. And maybe that's when we actually get to see the flashback through Jade and Tabitha's POV. So I think that would be a really good way to set it up. So yeah, that's good. That could be really good. Awesome stuff. Yeah, in theory, we need to replace Tilly, right? In theory. Yeah. I mean, does there need to be a pseudo replacement for Tilly, you think?
I mean, cookie person in town. Okay, but let's think about this. When Tilly was there, was Dale also there?
Yes.
Okay, because I was thinking, who is Tilly? We know that there are different roles, but Tilly would be the cookie person in town. Who was the cookie person in town before Tilly? I think Dale, but Dale was there at the same time. Therefore, they were not a replacement for each other. I don't think that we need to replace Tilly, but I do believe that we need to replace Father Kotri. We have a church.
Yes.
There's a church there. And that's why I think Sophia's coming in. And they're very specific about her being a religious person. I do believe that we need to replace the religious faction of the town. And I think that that's going to be Sophia. It does look like it's very fitting. I mean, we have funerals that need to happen. We have religion that's going to get involved somehow, right? We know Kotri was talking heavily about the Bible. So we need somebody to also give us some of that theology. And I think that's where Sophia comes
in. Okay. Interesting. I mean, yeah, we could use we haven't had a replacement for Kotri since he got unceremoniously throat slit in one of the most heartbreaking scenes that I've ever seen on film. One of the best scenes I've ever seen on film, actually, in terms of just pure acting performance. Really great. I love that fucking scene. But yeah, maybe Sophia will be that religious kind of presence inside the town that Khatri once was. Maybe. Up next for episode 2, Frey. This is exciting. It means we might be getting a major fight already in early episode. Think might involve the monsters or the man in yellow. I mean, I think when people hear Frey, you kind of think of heading into the fray, which could be, referring to, you're heading into the fight. But I like Robert Saunders' idea on this. Robert Saunders had a really good idea in Discord when he saw the fray, and he reminded me of a line that Father Khatri says to Boyd early on, when Khatri says, "The edges are beginning to fray." I think that's what this title is referring to. I think Robert was dead on, and I'm so glad that he brought that up. I don't know how I forgot that, but good on you, Robert. And I think that one is spot on. I think this fray episode 2 title is referring to the edges beginning to fray, in terms of we're going to start to see at the very beginning of the season, right there at episode 2, this town slowly but surely starting to turn on Boyd, starting to lose their faith on Boyd. It already really started, really. If you look at season 3, at the end of season 3, it's already really begun in terms of people are already losing a little bit of faith in Boyd. I think we're going to see that continue. And I think Frey is referring to that line that Father Khatri told Boyd about the edges beginning to fray. And Boyd is going to be doing everything he can to try and keep that from happening. But I do think the unraveling is going to continue throughout season 4.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And also, I always go back to the fact that they spelled it out for us, guys. They literally verbatim told us what's going to happen next season when Acosta said, "I'm going to tell the entire town what you have done." And Boyd says, "Go ahead and tell them." So right there, verbatim, they're letting us know Acosta will be telling everybody what they have done. And Boyd is not going to say, "No, I didn't do it." He's not going to try to cover it up. He's going to be responsible for it. And he's going to accept that indeed it happened. There's not going to be a cover up. So we know that that's going to happen. Verbatim, they told us. I don't believe that Acosta is going to step down from that. She just is not. She is very set on leading the town in her own way. So she's going to go out. She's going to tell the town. And Boyd said, "Bring it on," basically. "I did what I did, and I'm okay with what I did." So that inexplicably is going to cause some people to say, "Whoa, I think Boyd is losing it." Right?
I mean, there's already some people there, right? I mean, like we saw the whole diner town meeting. We finally got a town meeting in From. We've been asking for it for 3 fucking seasons, and we finally get it. Only for the entire town to just be in an uproar against Boyd. Even his own son kind of stands up and speaks against him in front of everyone. So yeah, I mean, it's already there. They're already very much laying that groundwork for this town being slowly losing their faith in Boyd. And like you mentioned, then you throw Acosta into the mix after them butting heads when she first arrived, to them kind of working together on Tilly's murder, to them butting heads again with what Boyd's doing with Elgin. Yeah, it seems like they're very much setting up that friction to be there between Boyd and Acosta in season 4, and the town continuing to lose a little bit of faith in Boyd.
I love the town meeting, because I do believe you could say, this is the part where we're crazy, which we are totally crazy.
We are totally
about
crazy.
The show. Totally
Guilty
crazy.
As charged.
And we love it.
Love
but this is the crazy part. I do believe that they listen to the Fremily. They know the name the Fremily. They listen to what the people are saying, and we were saying, hey, they need to get together. I'm so smart. I would be having a meeting. I'm so smart. Every day I would call the whole town in and ask them what they've seen. We would figure it out together. And it almost felt like the creators were saying, "Shut up. I'm going to show you a town meeting.
Yeah, you want your meeting? Here's your fucking
I'm going to
meeting.
give you a town meeting. Here you go. Now shut up." And don't you dare ask for another one again.
Don't you dare ask for another meeting. Because this is how the next one's going to go too. No, that's hilarious. I mean, if the writers were to do something like that, if that really is the case, that's fucking hilarious. I love shit like that, when writers kind of troll their audience in a fun way. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Robert Saunders says, I have a theory that Sophia arrives with 3 family members, which replace Jim, Tilly, Tien, Chen, and Dale. Like season 3, episode 4, not all survive. Yeah, that was very true. When Tabitha arrives, she arrives with multiple people, but only Tabitha and Henry survive. Both of the EMTs get killed off rather quick. So that could be a very interesting idea where Sophia arrives with multiple people, but she's maybe the only one that survives out of them, like she's with her family. Yeah, I like that. I think that could be very interesting. Very, very interesting. Awesome stuff. They're going to want Sarah to go into the box, and Boyd's refusal could cause the edges to fray. That could definitely cause even more of a problem. Yeah. And that was one thing we talked about a few streams ago. Will the box ever come back into play at some point in time on From? Because the box, it just felt like the box had such a heavy presence on the show in like the first 2 seasons or so. And then it kind of just faded off into nothing, where they don't even mention the box anymore, let alone have it be a part of the narrative. So part of me always wondered, like, will we ever see the box get utilized again in some way? I don't know. I guess we'll see. I mean, as long as, like you mentioned this last time we talked about this, and I agreed with you. We've heard Boyd say this, that no one's ever going in that box again. He's already made that clear. No one is going in that box.
Nobody's going into the
Nobody's going into the
box. Iconic.
Super iconic.
And about Sarah, you guys, she's my girl, so I do have some bias here. Love my Sarah. However, there is nobody in the world that wants to punish Sarah more than Sarah.
She wants to punish herself. Yeah.
She
literally tried to kill herself
multiple times. And she also told Boyd, you know what you must do now. You must put me in the box. And he's like, nobody's going into the goddamn box, because he doesn't want to do it. She would go in there willingly. She wanted to live out in the woods, knowing that she was probably not going to make it. So nobody wants to punish Sarah more than Sarah, and they're not willing to do that. In fact, I really like the speech that Boyd gives Sarah, where instead of taking that comforting role, which is why I love Boyd, I think he's a great actor, great character, of comforting and saying, you can live, you made a mistake. No, he's not going to comfort her.
No,
he basically says, don't be a weak after what you did.
Yeah.
You can't be weak. I'm not going to give you the luxury of running away into the woods or killing yourself just because you're not tough enough to live with what you've done.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, that is more of a punishment, to live with the fact that she was fooled and that she almost took a child's life. And he said, basically, don't be weak. I'm not going to give you the easy way out. It would be too easy to just let you go and kill yourself. So, nobody wants to punish her more than Sarah. I just don't think that it's going to get used. And I don't think that Sarah's going to get punished. We know that she's the one that took Elgin's eye. But like I've said this previously, they're going to become friends, you guys. Elgin, this is my theory, okay?
I think you're right.
And Sarah are going to become friends. They're going to become best friends. Because the only person that can understand Elgin having done what he did to Fatima is Sarah. In fact, when she was taking out his eye, she said, I have to do it because he will not tell you unless I do it, right? Saying, I understand him. I understand what he's going through. I understand that he thinks that he's doing the right thing. And it's going to take somebody like me who has been through what he's been through to lead him. And I think Elgin, this is my theory, he's going to end up thanking Sarah and saying, thank you, Sarah. Why? So. Because you saved my soul. You caught me right in time, right before I was able to do something to Fatima that I couldn't take back. And the same for Sarah, right? She paid with her brother's life, but she didn't take a child's life. He's going to end up thanking her for taking out her eye. I know it sounds crazy. It's going to happen.
No, I don't even think it sounds too crazy. I think it sounds 100% plausible. I think you're right. I think you're spot on. Because they're very much kindred spirits, these two. They're outcasts in the town. Elgin is very much going to be a bit of an outcast, just like Sarah was after her escapade in season 1. But yeah, nobody knows what they've been through other than each other. They've both been manipulated by the entities of this town to do heinous acts. So yeah, I think you're 100% right. I feel like if they don't become friends, the writers missed a huge opportunity there for a pairing, because they just share so much in common. So yeah, no,
and we know that Elgin was into Sarah, you guys. Remember,
Elgin was into her at first.
One of my favorite scenes is when Elgin's trying to hit on Sarah. It's like, man, you are like in a town full of monsters, and he's like, hey, I'm not gonna miss my opportunity to shoot my shot. He was trying to get at Sarah at the church, getting closer and closer to her, saying, hey, I used to knit owls with my grandma. You like that? I'm a grandma's boy. I love my grandma. Is that working for you? Until Sarah's like, hey, you're gonna hear about it anyways. I killed my brother.
I killed my brother.
Then he takes off. He doesn't even say goodbye. He just like gets up and takes off.
Yeah.
He was into her.
Love it. Awesome scene. Yeah, he was. You could tell he was into her a little bit. He was into her a little bit, for sure. For sure. Good stuff. Yeah, I've used that Jade's line about more than 3 people in a meeting 100 times at work since I've heard him say it. Good stuff. Yeah, you get more than 3 people in a meeting, nothing ever gets done, does it? And true. Very, very true. All right, let's see. Up next we have, episode 3 doesn't have an episode title. That one wasn't available. So now we move on to episode 4. The Heart is a Lonely Hunter. And for Mond, he has this one looks to me somebody sad who is searching. Might be about Julie / Boyd, Tabitha, or Jade. And we did a little bit of not a super deep dive into this, but The Heart is a Lonely Hunter is a novel. And it's got some kind of similar themes that From has in it to a certain extent in terms of isolation and stuff like the main character and Boyd have some things in common in terms of everybody coming to them with their problems and having the weight of the world on their shoulders. But yeah, this was one of those ones that could really mean anything in terms of the title interpretation. Could mean anything. But episode 5 of Myths and Monsters. Now, this is an exciting one. More exciting, we might be getting more information we do not know about Fromville and its monsters. Now, I mean, episode 5 and episode 6 titles, those are the 2 most exciting ones for me when I saw them. Episode 5 being this, of Myths and Monsters, and episode 6 being If a Tree Falls in the Forest. Because I feel like there's so many things that these 2 titles could be referring to when you're talking about From. Especially, number 5 of Myths and Monsters. A lot of people see that and they instantly think, okay, is this going to be some kind of origin to the monsters? Are we finally going to get the full, true story of what the monsters really are, separating myth and learning the facts about the monsters? Yeah, that very well could be it. Or it could mean something totally different. Who knows? But yeah, let us know what you guys think of Myths and Monsters. What are we going to be getting in that episode? He may end up saving Sarah's life, but speaking up for her. Yeah, very well. Yeah, trauma bonding. Absolutely. You definitely see some trauma bonding between Sarah and Elgin. 100%. Absolutely. Yeah, amazing. Sarah has a Sarah sweatshirt. Amazon has a Sarah sweatshirt. No shit. I'm gonna have to pick that one up for my co-host here. Awesome. I'll have to look that up.
Love it.
Yeah, Sarah's a fun character. I like Sarah too. I'm team Sarah as well. But I know she's a big favorite of PM's. That's a very kinky date. What's the stop word? Yeah, okay. But yeah, of Myths and Monsters, we're getting into the final, what presumably is the final 2 seasons, which means we're going to be getting a ton of answers over the course of these next 2 seasons. So yeah, of Myths and Monsters, maybe we are finally going to get that flashback to the original timeline and find out how these monsters were really created and who manipulated the creating in the first place. Episode 6, If a Tree Falls in the Forest. Now, a lot of different interpretations that could have. Let's see. Mond has, we might be seeing a tree go down for real this time. And that was one of the things that we discussed a little bit when we were first looking at some of these episode titles, that could be a possibility of a faraway tree actually getting successfully cut down. We saw what happened in season 3 when Victor tries to cut down the faraway tree. The boy in white shows up instantly, almost as though he can feel it, which I believe he can. I do believe the boy in white is intrinsically tied to these faraway trees, almost as if the boy in white is a spirit avatar of sorts of the faraway trees, which would explain why every time a faraway tree gets used, the boy in white is there to guide the person using it. The only time he wasn't there to guide someone is when Dale rushes into the tree and dies. So I think there's a lot of evidence pointing to the boy in white being super tied to these trees. But a tree falls in the forest. It's a shorter abbreviation of the longer saying of, if a tree falls in the forest and doesn't make a sound, does it really happen? It's a philosophical thought experiment debating whether or not an event actually occurs if there's nobody there to perceive it or witness it. And I also saw a lot of people talking about tree falling in the forest, maybe potentially referring to the tree that fell over in the side of the road, the tree that everybody sees before they land in Fromville. So this one could really mean multiple different things.
It could. Whenever I hear that, you guys, about if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's around to hear it, that it really fall, I always think the hubris of mankind and the ego that mankind have. Just because you didn't observe it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. If I'm the tree, I fucking fell. Okay, I fell. This is my reality.
I was standing,
and now I'm
not. Like, this happened.
I don't care if you saw it or not. It happened, right?
Yeah.
But we find ourselves being so important to the world that if we don't see it, then it doesn't matter. Just like
the
cat
hubris.
in the box. Like the cat in the box. If you don't open the box, the cat is suspended. Exactly. It is suspended in time and therefore it's alive and dead. No, you are still leading by ego. If I'm the cat, I'm fucking alive or dead. One way or another, you just are not finding out because you're not opening the box, but something has happened to me. I'm another being, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I always thought if a tree falls in the forest, is like, okay, they're gonna cut down a tree. We know that Victor was very gun-ho about it. He was very much saying, I'm gonna cut down the tree. He wants to do it. Victor is sneaky. He might sneak off when Boy in White is not looking. chop a tree down.
He's
a sneaky. He's a
fucking
sneaky
Victor Appleseed over here.
Yeah, before Boy in White could get there. But I really love how that was one of my favorite scenes, Boy in White and Victor, because Boy in White, if you close up on his fists are balled up, like he's had it with Victor. He's like, dude, I have so much going on today. Like Fatima's giving birth to the pod. The monsters are out, the Nkui children, and then you're wanting to cut the tree. Like, I don't have time for this, Victor.
No time
and
for
his
this
little
nonsense.
fists were balled up, like, oh, Victor. And he's like, you've changed. He's like, you changed too, Victor.
You changed
when
too,
I met
Victor.
you were 7. Now you're 50. Okay, you changed too.
Oh shit!
I love that.
It's great. Love that. Absolutely love that. Yeah, and this is an interesting one as well. Yeah, hopefully someone ventures into the caves with the camera they found and takes photos of the cave drawings and combines them with Victor's to understand myths and monsters. Maybe. I mean, I feel like the cave paintings have to come back into play at some point. They were very prominent. I mean, there's still so much on that cave wall that we don't know, including the big red symbol. But accessing them is going to be interesting. I mean, if we remember, the Matthews house fell and collapsed into that cave. So those symbols might be a little tougher to get to now. They might have to clear a ton of debris before they can even get to those symbols now. Because again, the house did fall right there, right where the symbols are. So I imagine they're going to have to do some digging to get to those symbols again. But we shall see. I have to imagine they're going to play a larger role in the ending of the story, for sure. The bigger question is, if a faraway tree falls in the forest and nobody is around to hear it, does it still make a sound? Maybe. I don't know. Don't know. Don't know. I don't know how come all the networks are not fighting to get this show, and how come it's not on the billboard on Times Square. That's same question I've been asking MGM for going on 4 years now. I'm right there with you. This show, that's the one flaw that it has. No, I don't want to call it a flaw, but the one thing about From is it doesn't really have a huge marketing arm. They don't seem to spend a ton of money advertising and marketing the show. Like I can't remember ever seeing a commercial for From on television, ever. It seems like they do just about all of their marketing solely online, either YouTube, X, Instagram, TikTok. Like that's the only place you see them advertising the show. You'll never catch like a commercial for From while you're watching a football game or anything like that, which is a huge mistake, I think, in my opinion, because yeah, this show would draw in so many people. Like we've talked about it many times. If this show would have premiered on like HBO, be massive. It would be massive. It already is big. You know, like the size of the show is already big for the size of the platform that it was launched on. Like From is already a globally watched show. But yeah, it would have, I can only imagine how big a show like this could have gone if it did premiere on like an HBO. It probably would have gotten as big as Lost got, I would imagine. Similar to that vein, similar, it's the same executive producers of Lost. And it's very kind of in that same niche of that mystery box storytelling, only this is kind of wrapped in the horror setting where Lost was wrapped in a little bit more of a fantasy setting. So yeah, I think if this show would have premiered on like HBO or Amazon Prime, like fully, it would be absolutely massive. Absolutely massive. Hell, I think it has the possibility of being absolutely massive on MGM Plus. They just need to start advertising it a little bit more. Start running some ads during Super Bowls, during sporting events. Like so many people would be drawn to this show. Just about every person I've told about From loved it. I can't think of many people that I've showed this show to that didn't instantly get hooked on it right away. So yeah, it's unfortunate that they don't pour a little bit more into their marketing strategy and they kind of only solely market online, because I feel like they're missing out on a huge audience of people out there that would love this show.
Yeah. You know what I think is going to happen? The series is going to conclude, right? And then they're going to
It's going to
sell
get
it off,
super popular.
which is,
Yeah.
this is what we see. They'll sell it to Netflix or HBO, and then it'll be super popular. But you guys in the chat and the family will be the cool kids who liked
We're
From
the
before it
originals.
was mainstream.
Yeah.
Before
Yeah.
it was mainstream. I'm seeing a lot of people on TikTok discovering the show, right? Because now that there's people like Jeremy that are constantly pushing and advertising for them, right? Doing the work that MGM refuses to do. There's people that are finding the show, and I see a lot of people on TikTok that are finding the show, and they're like, you guys, I found this show. And they're
Yeah.
asking these questions. What about if they're fairies? What
Yeah.
about like the men in
Going
yellow? I'm
over the
like,
stuff that we've been
oh,
talking about for fucking 4
yes.
years now. It's like,
Oh, you young grasshopper, you know
yeah,
nothing about
you
life. Like,
sweet
just
summer
wait.
child.
Just
Yeah.
wait. Exactly. You know nothing about the winter.
Oh, you sweet
Just
summer
wait.
child. What do you know about fear? Fear is for the winter.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it's great to see some new people getting into the show, but yeah, you see people just starting to dive into those rabbit holes, and it's like, boy, you got a long way to go. You got a lot of fun to have too. Like, if I could erase the memory of From just so I could rewatch it all over again for the first time, I'd fucking do that and become a noob right now, because it was that fun discovering and watching all this stuff for the first time. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe like you said, I think you're spot on. I think once the show has had its run and it's done and it's over and it's a full, complete 5 or 6 season series, yeah, they can shop it around to other streaming services and it'll probably blow up. As of right now, they're kind of playing it close to the chest in terms of other streaming services they're allowing to play from because they're trying to build their own. I get it. This is this is their business strategy. They're thinking the more people that come to MGM Plus to find From, the more subscribers we'll get because they want to build up their streaming platform. Everybody does these days. But yeah, I imagine we'll see this on tons of streaming services after the series had its full run, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. No, that cat is definitely in that box alive. I mean, most likely, the cat is alive. Okay, Heavy is the Head. Episode 7 isn't available, but episode 8 is Heavy is the Head, a shorter version of the Shakespeare saying of uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. And I think this one is definitely pertaining to Boyd, most likely. And I get the feeling by the time we get to episode 8, because remember, if episode 2 is fray, if in episode 2 the edges are beginning to fray, and by the time we get to episode 8, we might be full on insurrection, full on rebellion going on at this point in time, where maybe Acosta has convinced a good portion of the town to turn against Boyd, and the full on kind of split is coming. So Heavy lies the head that wears the crown. Definitely that kind of comes to mind. But another thing that also comes to mind, someone else also put in the chat, and I want to get them right because this was a fun one too. Right here, B Brock VA. Boyd might hand the crown to Kenny, ask him to take it. When they reconciled when Boyd had the Parkinson's attack, he said about when the time comes, but I could be misremembering. No, you're 100% right. That is exactly what happened. Boyd had that most recent Parkinson's attack. He realized that the Parkinson's might be coming back, and he has another talk with Kenny to tell him, hey, you're going to have to be ready. There is going to be one day is going to come where I'm not going to be capable of keeping these people safe anymore. And I think Boyd has prepared Kenny as best as he possibly can. And I think Kenny has really, really stepped up to become a very solid character. By the time we get to the end of season 3, I see a totally different Kenny than we see in seasons 1 and 2. Like, he really has grown up. He's really become a man. And I really think he's finally on the verge of actually being capable of filling Boyd's shoes one day. So I wouldn't be too surprised if this episode title could be referring to something along that storyline where Boyd is getting closer and closer to handing over the reins to Kenny. Because that is going to happen at one point. At some point, Kenny is going to take over, and Kenny will lead everybody out where Boyd left off. I'm almost certain that's what's going to happen. You don't foreshadow this for all of these seasons just to not have Kenny take over at some point. And I don't think Boyd's going to survive this whole series, not by a long shot. Boyd is not going to make it out of Fromville alive. He will most likely die saving everybody. And I think Kenny will take over for him and finish Boyd's job and get everybody out safe. But I like that idea that maybe, Heavy lies the head isn't so much referring to Boyd, but it's potentially referring to Boyd handing the crown over to Kenny and trying to warn him really that Heavy lies the head that wears the crown. Be careful, Kenny.
Be careful. You see how they did me in that meeting? They're disrespectful. These people are disrespectful as well. But I go back to your Discord, right? Like I said, I love hanging out in this Discord. They have the best ideas, the best theories. And I think that you're totally right. I really like that idea because Terran, shout out to Terran. In the Discord, he made the observation that it's somebody new. So this is not going to be Boyd. We could cross him off. The observation that he made, philosophical observation, of course, was that usually this is a theme that you gather when you are new at ruling. So if you have been ruling for a long time, nobody needs to come to that conclusion. You already know. You know how disrespectful the people are. You know how hard it is to lead. This is
how these town meetings go.
you know how the town meeting goes. This is the conclusion of somebody coming to terms with the fact that I kind of took over the second faction of the split, because I do believe the town will split. And now it's not that easy.
Yeah.
And that might be Kenny or that might be Acosta. It would be very fitting for Acosta because Acosta thinks she knows it all. She thinks, you know what, back off. I could do this because I'm a cop. I'm a cop that likes to shoot everybody. I could do this, right? So it would be very fitting that she comes to the realization of, damn, it's actually harder than I thought to lead the people in this town. It's harder. This is not like back in my town where I was a cop of, you know, probably a mall cop. It's much harder than that. So it's going to be somebody new, whether that's Kenny or Acosta. We still need to find out.
Yeah, I like the idea of it being Kenny. I mean, I feel like there's been tons of foreshadowing for it. I mean, they've been setting this up ever since the very beginning that Kenny is going to take over for Boyd one day. And that is the perfect kind of advice that Boyd would give Kenny if he was taking over, you know, like giving him that warning, beware, uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. So yeah, I like the idea of it potentially referring to Kenny or maybe someone else, but I think Kenny's a good choice. I like it. Likes it. Likes it. I likes it. All right, let's see what else we got. And the final one, episode 9, the calm before, which is referring to the calm before the storm, most likely. Episode 9, the penultimate episode, you know, the episode before the big finale, and rather self-explanatory. The calm before the storm is pretty self-explanatory. It's not really a whole much there. So yeah, episode 9 looks like it's going to be, you know, the last quiet little time they get before whatever big event pops off in the finale. So yeah, episode 9 going to be the calm before the storm, ladies and gents. And episode 10, what a long, strange trip it's been. You know, this is an interesting one. This is a very interesting one. This is also a line, a lyric from a Grateful Dead album as well. So yeah, I mean, some people saw this and they thought it was referring to the end. Like, holy shit, is season 4 going to be the final season? Is this going to be the final season? Are they going to get out at the end and this is going to be over? I don't think that's what it's referring to. I don't think that's the case. We have heard John Griffin talk numerous times that they were at least planning 5 seasons. Who knows? Maybe we'll even get a 6th from what I'm hearing. But at least 5. So this does not look like it's going to be the final season. So what a long, strange trip it's been. I mean, there's so many things that could be referring to. I mean, so many people have had long, strange trips. Victor and Eloise come to mind the first. Like, I would love for this to be referring to Eloise's big reveal that she's still alive. And she's had a very long and strange trip to survive for these 40 plus years without Victor and without everybody else. I would love for that title to be referring to Eloise's return, but it could also be referring to Victor. Victor himself has also had a very long and strange journey here in Fromville. So those were the first 2 that came to mind for me when I hear a long, strange journey. This is bad. But who knows?
Last time we talked about it, that's the first person that would be fitting, that I thought would be fitting, would be Victor's sister. That's a brilliant way of bringing her back in. She is the one that would have most experience in traveling, if she is also a story walker, right? And we know that Victor is the longest person that has been in town. So she would be the second person that has been able to survive in this from town, whether she's traveling through time or whatever it is that she's doing. We also know that Victor told us she was very good at hiding. So if she's a time traveler or a story walker, and on top of that, she's very good at hiding. She was able to hide from the monsters before the talismans. That's how good at hiding she was. So she has to be out there somewhere. I'm sure she's going to come out of wherever she is, and we're going to have a reunion. And I think it would be another reunion. Yes.
Just remember like what happened last time we had a reunion?
Victor and his father, the reunion, right? Now we're going to have Victor, his father, and hopefully
All
the
three of
daughter.
them. Yes.
Yeah,
Victor
hopefully the
and
daughter
Henry. Ah, Victor and Henry
seeing,
reuniting with Eloise. Yeah.
because
Even that
this is
scene.
a long trip, not just for Eloise. The title is very fitting for Henry.
The entire
Henry
family.
became an alcoholic. He
Yeah.
believed that his family was lost, right?
Hmm.
These are his children. He went through
Yeah.
having the children, being with them for what, 10 years, then them
Yeah.
going missing for the rest of his life, and now coming back to his children in this strange place.
Yeah.
So the title is fitting for Henry reuniting with his children. It's fitting for Victor reuniting with the
Hmm.
sister and Eloise.
Yeah.
So I think that that would be amazing, and I would love to see that, them coming together.
Yeah, I mean, it does perfectly fit the entire Kavanaugh family when you look at every single one of their journeys. It is very fitting. It could also be referring to the original Jade and the original Tabitha. Jade and Tabitha, now that they're remembering all of their past reincarnations, they themselves have had a very long and strange journey now that they're remembering all of this stuff. And then, of course, there's Julie. There's also Julie as well. Now that Julie has this story walking ability and can go to other time periods, she might have a very long and strange journey at some point in season 4 as well. So yeah, there's a lot of possibilities there. But I like the the symmetry of it referring to the entire Kavanaugh family. I like that idea. That's my favorite one for sure.
And it would make for another beautiful, we know that from which is the great thing about the show, you're not just going to get horror and interesting, philosophical ideas like Jade brought up. Is life predetermined, or do you have
Mhm.
any free will, right? So not only do you get important questions that we must ask ourselves, and you get some horror, but you also get these really heavily emotionally charged scenes, like
Yeah,
the funeral, Tian Cheng's funeral and Tian
yeah,
Cheng's death, the reunion with Victor and his father. So we know there's going to be an emotionally charged scene in this next season, because they give us
yeah.
one every single season. I
Every
could
season.
say the first season, it was Katri's death,
Yeah,
right? Then the
definitely.
second, Tian Chang's, or was it the third? The third was Tian Chang's.
Yeah,
But there's an emotionally heavily charged moment in every season, and we need one for this one. That would be very fitting.
yeah. Yeah, we do. We do. We need one. Yeah, I think well, Frum's been pretty good at delivering some of those really, really heartfelt, emotional moments. Season 3's filled with them. I mean, filled with them.
It's okay. Everything's okay.
Victor. Victor. Hey. I didn't know how to get home. I didn't know how to get home. It's okay. It's okay.
Damn,
How's it?
Jeremy, why are you emotionally destroying us on a Wednesday afternoon?
It's Wednesday night. We can handle a little bit of it. We're going to bed soon. But no, I mean the show. That's what's so great about From it. It's the perfect mix of everything. You get a really good dose of horror. You get a really good dose of drama. You get those heavy emotionally charged moments. Incredibly good scores. You just get great performances all around. There is a little bit of everything in the show. It's not just a horror show. It's got everything in it, and great performances all around. Really good stuff. Yeah, I mean, Jeremy making the whole chat cry. I'm sorry. I promise I am not trying to make the whole chat cry. That is not what I'm trying to do.
This is where I buried Mom. I thought you'd want to see.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Is that Eloise? I think so. Well, I found her pieces. She was so small. There wasn't much left. I was the reason that she left that night, Dad. I was the reason that she died. Victor. If I just hadn't said anything, he would still be here. Eloise would still be here. No, Victor, you were just a boy. I should have died that night, too. Well, you don't have to be my dad anymore. No, wait, stop. God damn it, I said stop! Don't ever say that again. Do you hear me? I'm your dad. I will never stop being your dad. Your mother did what she did because she loved you. She was trying to protect you. That's my job now. Okay? It's my job.
Jeremy is out for blood today. He wants us to go to bed crying, all of us. Just
promise I don't. I promise I don't. But I mean, look, Scott McCord, he's such a fucking good actor. I mean, Jade is my favorite character on the show, but I think Scott McCord is the best actor on the show. Harold Perrineau is great too. Don't get me wrong. I mean, what Harold Perrineau has managed to do with the character of Boyd, nothing short of a masterclass in acting. But what Scott McCord was able to do with this character of Victor, that kind of role is incredibly tough to play. Like trying to get into that mindset, that traumatized mindset every single day on set. That's not easy. That is not an easy task for an actor to do. I think Victor is definitely by far showing the best acting on the show. Even though he's my second favorite character, I think he's the best actor, with Harold Perrineau a very close second.
I would have to completely agree, because when you are presenting a state of mind, when actors have to present a state of mind that it's not something physical that you see, but it's a state of mind of a child, oftentimes you get it overacted so that you can emphasize, I'm still a child. But what's so great about Victor is that you get the point of his state of mind, but he acts it in a very quiet, understated way, where you get
almost a somber tone about him.
Exactly. So it's not overacted that he is this child trapped in a man's body. He's very subtle about it, which is something that I really liked. In the first season, you're trying to figure out, is this guy just a creepy guy, right? When you see him with Julie and Ethan, or what's going on here? Because he's not overacting his trauma. So I find that to be really, really interesting. And also that he does it with so few lines, like the line iconic, I didn't know how to get home, because that's what a child does. A child does not tell you, they never blame their parent. Even when the parent is at fault, the child blames themselves. Instead of saying, why didn't you come pick me up? He says, I didn't know how to get home. It's my fault, my bad. Almost like I'm in trouble, sort of, which was iconic. Great actor.
He is. I mean, he's really good. It is not easy to perfect a role like this. It's not easy at all. Scott McCord is just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Good stuff. Good night, Robert. Take it easy, my friend. And we're going to be shutting this down soon, too, here as well. But there we have it, folks. Part 2 of diving into the episode titles, which I'm sure we'll continue to dive into while we wait for the eventual From Season 4 trailer to get here at some point. But yeah, Jade has been Jade has become an unexpected delight. And I think there's a lot of people that see him that way, because again, there are a lot of people that didn't really like Jade in the beginning. And that's understandable. I thought he was fucking hilarious right from the beginning. I loved him. But, not everybody did. But you definitely see that he really has become just such an intriguing character in terms of them peeling back the layers on him and showing that, no, there's an actual person there. Jade's great. Jade's absolutely great. I mean, this whole cast is just phenomenal. This is such a good cast. And they're firing on all cylinders every time a new season comes out. I can't wait. I mean, if this is the beginning of the end, which season 4, John Griffin says the beginning of season 4 is the beginning of the end, things are going to start getting really dicey, really hairy. I have a feeling we're going to start seeing characters start to drop at a much quicker rate. We lost 2 main characters in season 3, in Tien Chen and Jim. I get the feeling we're going to lose at least 3 main characters in season 4. I will be surprised if we don't lose at least 3 characters. We're getting close to the end now. Storylines need to start getting wrapped up so they can focus on the big picture of the finale, which not every character is going to be a part of. That's just how it is. Not every character is going to be a part of the main final narrative that happens on the show. So they're going to have to start killing some characters off, and I fully expect season 4 to be that season. This is going to be their darkest season. Yeah, I get the feeling. And I'm all for it. Bring on From season 4. And hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully we get a season 4 teaser trailer within the next few weeks or month, the latest. We are currently also covering A Night of the Seven Kingdoms on the channel right now as well. There's been 2 episodes of that. There's 4 more episodes still left to go. I'm hoping by the time we're done covering A Night of the Seven Kingdoms that a From trailer will be here. Hopefully. But if not, definitely check out A Night of the Seven Kingdoms if you haven't already. It's a really, really, really fun show and something to watch to kill the time while we wait for a From trailer to arrive. PM recently got into it. You saw the first 2 episodes and you were really enjoying it, right? A Night of the Seven Kingdoms?
I mean, it's amazing. If you like Game of Thrones, you will like this. Yes, it's not the same. However, it is a different faction of the same world, right? It has such a nice main character, right? We were just talking about Victor, about why we love Victor. You get your Victor style of innocence in a character. So I think that you will love it. If you like Victor, you're going to love watching the show because it is very much in that vibe where it's a feel-good show. When you were recommending it, I was like, I don't know the vibe, but it's a feel-good show in a world where there's so few things to feel good about. It was a nice little, refresher that there's nice people in the world. So I totally recommend it for that. It's sweet.
It is. It's just a good old fashioned, heartwarming show. Not too complicated, not big giant spectacles like Game of Thrones. I mean, it's got some good action pieces. Don't get me wrong. There's going to be some good action, but it's just a very well-rounded, character-driven story that is super heartwarming and a true underdog story. If you like a true underdog tale, you're going to like A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. This is one of the best underdog stories that I've ever read. And the adaptation up until this point has been phenomenal. So yeah, if you guys are looking for something to watch while if you're looking to kill some time while we wait for From season 4 to get here, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms is definitely a worthy watch for sure. But there we have it, folks. There we have it. The episode titles are here. I'm sure we will continue to dissect them over the next few days and weeks while we eventually wait for the From season 4 trailer. And of course, you guys know as soon as a season 4 trailer drops, I'll be going live right away, that very same moment, and we will be dissecting every single frame of it. You know how we do here on this channel. And yes, Sherry, we will definitely be doing some rewatch parties. We started to do a From rewatch party a few weeks ago, and then it kind of fell by the wayside just because we were kind of really busy with other stuff. But as we're getting closer and closer to From season 4 eventually getting here, yes. I mean, I'm thinking once the trailer drops, once the trailer is actually here, we'll probably start a From season 3 rewatch party at that point. We'll rewatch all of season 3. Maybe we'll try and do a rewatch of all 3 seasons, but if not, at least we'll rewatch season 3. As soon as the trailer gets here, we'll start that, definitely. We've got to do a refresh. I mean, From's been off for so long. I mean, these shows have a lot of time in between seasons. You got to do a proper rewatch, right? It's mandatory at this point. So
absolutely.
Definitely. We will definitely be doing a rewatch party. And of course, I'll let everybody know well ahead of time in the Discord, of course. But if the trailer drops some point soon, we'll start the rewatch party right after the trailer drops. If the trailer doesn't drop anytime soon, then we'll figure out a schedule and start a rewatch party within the next few weeks or so. But yeah, looking forward to it. Cannot wait for season 4 to get here. Cannot wait for the trailer to get here for us to see a little tiny glimpse of what season 4 is actually going to look like. And of course, once we get the trailer, we usually get the definitive release date with the trailer as well, usually. So yeah, there we have it, folks. At this point, it's just waiting for that From season 4 trailer to get here. But in the meantime, we will be dissecting all of these episode titles and everything else heading into season 4.
Yeah, I feel like such a stalker. I stalk MGM on all platforms, like every day before I go to sleep, every day when I wake up, like they're always on my mind. I'm stalking them. I'm looking through all of the actors' stuff. And nothing. But we're gonna get you a bell, Jeremy. We need a boy bell for when there's From news. You know how he rings that bell to let everybody know that.
Yeah, I only have the Shame bell now. Yeah, I need the From bell.
Yeah, we need to get you a From bell.
I mean, hopefully soon. I will upload a From bell to the clips. That I can definitely do. But hopefully we have a trailer coming soon. I have my informants everywhere just waiting for that thing to be released, and we will know right away. My little birds are everywhere.
My little birds are everywhere. Even in the north, they whisper to me the strangest stories.
And one of these days, they're going to whisper that the From season 4 trailer is dropping tomorrow. So hopefully I will hear some word right around the time when the trailer is getting ready to drop. Sometimes I get an advance warning, sometimes. But yeah, there we go, folks. From season 4, hopefully just around the corner. We know that they are planning an early 2026 release. At this point, I'm probably not expecting it before April. But April still looks to be a solid month where it could premiere then. But hopefully we'll find out something definitive very soon. But that is going to do it for us tonight, folks. Big thank you to each and every one of you for hanging out with us on this fine evening as we dive into the From season 4 episode titles. And we will see each and every one of you on the next one. Stay safe out there, ladies and gents. Stay warm for anybody who was caught in the path of this recent nasty storm. I still got about 6 feet of snow outside my door. It's insane. And we have more snow coming, so that's fun. So stay safe out there. Keep your tinfoil hats on, folks, and we will see all of you on the next one.
Aunt Cooey.